Welcome to Rauta. This video is done in commercial collaboration with our sponsor, Steelfest. Hola and welcome to Black Metal from Chile. This is the case with the band called Skjult, which really might sound like something very Norwegian or Nordic at the least sense. And that's basically the case with this Cuban-based band. Now, it might sound a little bit weird, why would a Cuban-based band use such a name and all that, when in fact it's quite far away from Scandinavian or Nordic countries. However, that was exactly the case with the previous album I got to review a few years ago called Progenies of Light, the second album from 2018. This time, however, I have the third album. And mind you, this is already from 2020, when it seems came also the fourth album, which I don't remember getting or hearing. So in a way, this is kind of going back to the backlog of reviews and all that stuff. But like the saying goes, music never gets old, especially if it's the good kind. And that's fortunately the case with Skjult also. Now the previous album, in case you have missed it, I was doing that part of the Indie 5 reviews and I gave it 8 out of 10 because it was indeed a good album in the Nordic sense of black metal. What makes it more fascinating is that this is just a one-man band. One could say, yeah, now you get all those red flags with the bedroom black metal project going on, and those warnings are usually not without a reason. I mean, so often when you get these warning signs, it's like, yeah, one-man band doing everything. It's gonna suck production-wise, most likely songwriting-wise, etc., etc. But Skjult seems to be one of those exceptions to the rule because the music sounds good, and it's not only the Burchinese album, which is in fact a good one, but also with the third album here, we have Lucifer, Hominem, Salvator. Yeah, this one comes with a very simplistic, in a way, black and white cover, and it's not exactly one of those, let's add some skulls and weird objects on the cover, or I don't know, some castle, like seems to be the case with many kind of black metal releases, usually of good quality. There was even a meme about it, like, those haunted castles or just dark castles would be the sign of a good albums. You can just Google it if you want to, but this is something different. So very simplistic outlook, not colors of black and blue or black, red, white, and those combos, just black and white, and there you have it. So what can we expect apart from being the kind of a Nordic style of black metal? Well, first of all, this sounds indeed good. The thing here is the production is something that most bands, full bands or solo projects, would probably just only like dream of. I'm not gonna say this is overly produced or super great in terms of how it sounds, but it sounds powerful, and that is very, very much supporting the music here. So it's worth mentioning because you know how many bands just are like, okay, these guys have some good riffs, they have some pounding drums and all that stuff, but it kind of sounds weak, maybe because of lack of budget, or like I guess in many cases it is lack of understanding how to do it. Also, some bands try to really get that kind of a necro feeling of, say, early 90s Dark Throne and all that stuff, but fail it because, once again, they don't really understand how to do it, and as such they go between their good kind of raw necro sound and the more produced sound, just sounding weak and lame, or just kind of a meaningless. But Skjult is different breed. I'm definitely putting this to, say, roughly the upper 20% maybe when it comes to production. So this is definitely something that supports it here. And now you're asking then, so what is that they're supporting with the production? What is this music all about? I could say this is very, very Nordic style. Maybe more towards Sweden than Norway, and definitely more those than Finland. Because, for example, there are parts where this sounds kinda getting to the same idea of some Marduk ones, especially with some of the mid-tempo parts. There is certain kind of a sinister feeling. It's kind of a heavy and very dark, like obscure in a way, but still getting back to those basic good ass black metal riffs from the 90s. So one could say, in a way, this is kind of a retro-ish take to in our year 2020 to do an album which sounds like it could have been coming out in, like, I don't know, 1988 or I'm sorry, 1998, not 1988. And with that, I mean, there is certain kind of a, let's get back to the 1990s Nordic black metal feeling, which in my opinion is a good thing, especially when it's nicely executed. Now, what separates this from the truly great ones is that maybe none of these songs are exactly that good. Or more likely, there are a couple of better ones, which are more like, yes, this is definitely what I would hope to the full album to be. But none of the songs, well, most of the songs are not that good. So maybe this is trying to challenge a lot of those classic albums. And some parts are definitely doing that, but I wouldn't say overall this is as good as the previous album. And now you're asking, what are those classics you're talking about? Are you talking about early Enslaved or Satyricon or Dark Throne or Mayhem, Burzum and the like? Yes and no. No in the sense it isn't that Nordic. I mean Norwegian. But when we're talking about, say, some of the better Marduk ones, yeah, I would say this is pretty much on par with that. Some people might disagree, and it's totally fine, of course, but I would say, yeah, this is indeed challenging a lot of those classics from early 90s, when the second wave black metal was pretty much defined and founded. And this should tell you a lot about the quality of these albums. Of course, they have the benefit of being out there for 30 years now, the albums from 1993 and so. But when we're talking about the mere songwriting, plus combine that to raspy vocals and production, I would say yes, Skjult is pretty good because it's indeed doing that kind of a ageless second wave of Nordic black metal just coming from Cuba. And I hope that people would not be thinking, okay, it's got coming from Cuba, it's not the real deal, I'm not gonna listen to it, because there are lots of bands coming from Nordic countries which might have the benefit of being Nordic as original ones, but not making these good albums. So there you have it. Just forget this is from Latin America part of the world or whatever, and focus on the good songs, and then you might actually enjoy it. Definitely worth taking a shot, because in fact Skjult has now proved that it's not one trick pony, but able to do more than just one good album. So there it is. Go give it a chance. You will find the links provided in the description box, and for example this album is out there on Bandcamp. So give it a go and enjoy.